All right, let's get more into Game 6 with a man who's been there for every swing of the bat so far, former MLB Executive of the Year, Jim Bowden. Jim is in Houston outside Minute Maid Park for us. Jim, here we are, Phillies with their backs against the wall. When the World Series is tied 2-2, you know this, going into Game 5, the team that wins Game 5 has won the series close to 80% of the time in its current format. So give us your keys for the Phillies to upset the odds, stay alive, and force a deciding Game 7.
And when you talk about upside the odds, let's remember what happened to these Astros in 2019 to the Washington Nationals. They were up 3-2, came back to Minute Maid Park, and the Nationals won the next 2 games and the World Championship. So the Astros are looking at this thing. They understand they have unfinished business. So let's get to the keys for the Phillies. I'm going to start with number 1. They need to contain the top of the lineup. Why is that, Jeremy? Because Zach Wheeler gave up. Opponents went 5 for 13 against him with 5 runs, 3 doubles. That includes the Alex Bregman home run. Now, his velocity was down 2 miles an hour. Zach Wheeler has had inflammation in that shoulder. He's taken anti-inflammatories all week. He threw a bullpen on Thursday. The velocity was back up. He feels like he'll be in better shape for this game. Number 2, they are going to have to take the curveball of Framber Valdez out of the zone. When you look back at Game 2, they swung at too many pitches that were below the knees. They can't do that if they want to beat him. And then finally, the Phillies are going to have to win the long ball battle. And it's tough to do against Framber Valdez because his fastball is that two-seam sinker that acts like a bowling ball. And then you got the low curveball. But you're going to have to lift a couple out of the ballpark if you're going to be able to beat the Houston Astros and force a Game 7.
Zach Wheeler versus Framber Valdez tonight. Astros have been on a quest to legitimize their greatness, Jim. They were undefeated going into this series. They've responded to the adversity. So what are the keys for them here in this spot?
Well, they've got to avoid the big inning, and the way you avoid the big inning is you limit the traffic in front of Bryce Harper. If you can keep Rhys Hoskins and JT Realmuto off the bases, then Bryce Harper can only beat you with a single home run, not a 2-run or a 3-run homer. If you can avoid the big inning, the Astros will be celebrating in the streets right behind us. Number 2. They've got to utilize their speed in this game. I mean, they're up 3-2. They need to be aggressive on the bases. And I'm talking Jose Altuve, Jeremy Pena, and Kyle Tucker. They need to steal bases. They need to go first to third. They need to score from first base on a double. That is extremely important here. And finally, I think it's very important that manager Dusty Baker, who's trying to win his first World Series of his career at 73 years old, he needs to stick with his blueprint with that bullpen. This is what I mean by that. Ryan Presley pitches the 9th, Montero the 8th, and Abreu the 7th. Let Valdez go 6 regardless of how well he's pitching. Take him out after 6. Go to that bullpen. That's how they got here. So it's going to be very exciting. The fans are already arriving here, Jeremy. We're 8 hours away from game time, and the fans are already coming to Minute Maid Park. It's unbelievable.
Astros are the favorites, of course, at -155. Jim, you had the Astros winning this series. Are you taking them to close it out here tonight, or are you taking the Phillies to live another day and give us a winner-take-all series and season finale?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Astros at -155. I'm not afraid to pay the money. I'm also going to take the under 7 runs in this game. I think Wheeler's going to pitch much better. We got a pitching duel between Valdez and Wheeler. I think it's going to be a dandy. I think it's going to be one of those games where I chew all of my fingernails down to, I guess, until it bleeds. It's going to be a lot of fun, but I got Houston celebrating tonight on the streets.
Former MLB Executive of the Year, Jim Bowden in Houston Saturday as the Astros look to close out the World Series and celebrate a world title. Enjoy the game tonight, Jim. Gonna be a good one in Houston, back at Minute Maid Park. As you mentioned, Zach Wheeler going against Framber Valdez. You heard Jim's keys to the matchup for both teams. Phillies, of course, trying to stay alive, down 3-2. It's a rematch of the Game 2 starters, which the Astros won that game 5-2. Wheeler allowed 5 runs on 6 hits in 5 innings pitched in that game. Gonna be a good one tonight.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.